Hi there. In this edition of Tantrum Tech Talks, we're going to talk about some interactions within the linkage, which we have disconnected from the shock. We have the linkage completely assembled. These will be some pretty dramatic demonstrations. You can see that the bike is free to collapse under its own weight. So as I climb aboard, the only thing supporting my weight is the pedaling pressure. Note, I can even bounce up and down without moving the suspension, as long as I maintain sufficient pressure. Here in a slightly different position, same result. Pedaling pressure, as if in a steep climb, is enough to keep the shock fully extended. But here's what happens if you don't maintain enough pressure. We saw how pedaling pressure during a climb can cause the rear suspension to stay at full extension and infinitely stiff like a hardtail. But that wouldn't be good over bumps. So we're going to show, while keeping pressure on the pedals as hard as I can, we're going to show what happens when the wheel hits a bump with a force to the rear, which is the first thing the wheel hits. So we're not going to kick upward, we're going to kick to the rear and activate the suspension and show the missing link in action. You can see that it does not take much to get the missing link to push the shock to a compressed position, even though I'm pulling as hard as I can on the pedaling pressure. This shows that even when you're pedaling as hard as you can, the wheel will still respond to bumps very easily. Now I've reconnected the shock and filled it up with about 165 psi of air pressure, enough to give me about 30% sag, which is generally where you want to run it. You can see that it offers a very plush feel, going into the travel easily under light loads. With the front wheel against the wall and the shock at sag, I can pull it out with pedaling pressure and even bounce up and down on the bike, and it will remain at full extension. Conversely, with no pedaling pressure, you can see that it goes easily into the travel. But enough of this shop talk. How does it ride? Well, let's start out on a really steep climb with some really nasty roots. You can see these roots are about 4 to 6 inches tall, or 100 to 160 millimeters. No easy task on any bike. Let's see how the missing link does.